So you're probably thinking to yourself, who's Brandon Sorsby? Actually, who's Mel Kiper, of course. Both interesting. What is cool in that? What's going on? We have Brandon Sorsby today, the Bearcat, Cincinnati, former from IU Hoosiers. He is from Texas, and grew up a big time Cowboys fan, a real fun personality too. Go listen to the Victor Cruz interview. I really think this guy has the upside to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. I don't use that loosely because this dude's arm talent is excellent. His athleticism is excellent. And there are some things where he does so well, but there's some things holding him back, such as the mental side of the game and maybe even the pocket presence a little bit. Those areas to me, as we go through this film study, that we need to take a look at and to elevate him. He's gotten better, though. This year's film to 2025 film compared to 2024 is a significant upgrade. It really is. I mean, Nebraska was a bit of a rough start, but there was also a different game script in that one, too. So let's go ahead and sink our claws into this one and bear down. I know all the puns coming out here. Starting with the Pittsburgh game, 2024 film first up, and you're going to start off with that deep ball. Oh, man, that is one heck of a deep ball that he has. Also, he's pretty dang good at reading off the safeties and stuff like that. This one, he didn't have to do too much, but we'll see more of that. I think his eye manipulation is very good. His release, too, is excellent. There's a slight miss under pressure. Nothing crazy there. But sometimes the mechanics, and you're going to go back to this. Watch where his feet don't fully really rotate through. He's kind of flat-footed on that left foot, and it leads to a bit of an underthrow here. Now, the receiver comes back and adjusts, makes a really good play. But he does have an occasional lapse with his mechanics. I don't know exactly. He just wanted to make this one tougher than it needed to be. Like, he's got the tight end wide open over here, but he's like, no, I'm going to show off my arm talent even more and just throw this one in the back corner. I mean, it was a perfect strike in the back of the end zone. I mean, as somebody watching film, I guess I'd rather see that, right? But I'd rather just see take the layup. Any which way, he can get a little arrogant with his arm at times. Like, this is one of the examples of it where it's like, you probably shouldn't make that throw. It ended up being out of bounds. This is what I want to see more of with Sorsby, actually. And this would elevate his grade even more, is the playmaking and the out-of-structure stuff. Most of the times, he's ducking his head and running. But this is the one case, and it did get called back, unfortunately. Penalty was a holding. However, the flashes of that is what I want to see more of with Sorsby. Keep your head up. And this, I think, was a throwaway. I just wanted to include it because I don't know. Because I don't think he's really that inaccurate. I know the numbers would tell a different story. Overall, I think his accuracy is very, very good. So that's kind of my view on it. It's just, this is something I got to go back to here. This is as tight of a window. I mean, a pretty dang tight window. And it's also good timing here as well. Now, Royer is a really good tight end. I mean, this ball could have been out a little bit earlier. That way it was, maybe it would have been this close. But and maybe that DB was caught a little flat-footed as well. That's a strike. That's showing off some of that major velocity. Now, this one here, I would have loved for him to come back and seen this backside dig right here. I get it. Like, he was watching his receiver trying to get him and get off the ground and stuff like that. So maybe he just didn't quite see him. He's open too. He misses him here, and he is under pressure. So there's that. But I would have loved for him to knock over that backside dig right there. This is an airmail. May have been a throwaway. May have just been an airmail. This was an overthrow for his wide receiver. Now, looking at this one, a little sideline, good, solid anticipationary throw right there. Hits his curl route on a dime. Under pressure throw, causes an inaccuracy there. So you see some things where he's a little inaccurate here and there. Now, this is a little bit of a mental part of it, too. This is the end of the game, right? Versus Pittsburgh. You got to try to get a field goal here. And why are you taking so much time? Like, either run and keep going or throw that ball, because he wasted like an extra 10 seconds there. Money on this was a great play by McKinney, the cornerback from Colorado. Good touch pass. And that's the thing, too, with him, that a lot of these rocket arm guys, and dudes like Nigo Imaliava, and I like Imaliava and everything like that. I know it's a little crazy, and you talk about that, but sometimes there's these guys who have really good arms, but they don't know. And here's one. Remember, if you're late over the middle, that's never a good thing. This is the one area. He had a couple of passes where he was late over the middle. This was one of them I had to include. He was low, late, over the middle. That's never a good combination, especially versus Travis Hunter. But going back to what I said, I think he's got a really good touch, and he's not just a one-armed player. And what I mean by that, he can put a different layer of velocity depending on what needs to be done. He can zip a throw in like that, right? This is where you see the velocity, and you talk about, hey, it's got to be between a linebacker and a DB. He can, even though the linebacker trips up here, still, if he wouldn't have tripped up, it would have been on the money. So those are things where it's like he can really adjust his arm based on those sort of things. This is the bad decision making right here. Did it help? Maybe his running back or wide receiver kind of gave up on it, but it is still what it is. It ended up being a pick six and a huge costly play for them versus West Virginia game. Also had a fumble in this one. So, well, I only saw a couple of fumbles throughout his film, but it was a bit of an issue at times. Ball security can be talked about. This was a little late over the middle as well. Didn't see it until later, and that comes back into, that could have been thrown right there. He was still in the pocket at this point. He could have made that decision a little quicker, and then just comes back late, ends up being an incomplete pass. Overall, the decision making and the mental side of the game, you got to speed up the processor a little bit. I have seen flashes of this. This was a little bit tougher. Like, he could have made this so much easier. Once again, you got to see this linebacker. He reads the running back. This ball has to be out right. I know he's reading this side over here, but man, you have to hit that. He's wide open. You can't get much more open than this. Look at all the space right here. Maybe he sees the referee and thinks he's a defender, but I don't know. You got to hit that. What are you missing? He's looking over here. That's another thing, but you got to get off that quicker. You got to be able to see that in your peripheral vision. So that is definitely a concern of mine when it comes to him, and you see it more often than not on his film. Here's a good play where he does get to the right read. He's got all day, though, to throw, so there is that. A good job by the offensive line. And his offensive line did struggle at times with the Bearcats, especially in 2024. Their pass protection wasn't good, but as a runner, this is what he can do, right? We're going to see more and more of him as a runner, and that is really the main highlights, other than the deep balls with him. Another bad decision here. Gets hit and ends up causing a touchdown there, a scoop and score for the West Virginia. Again, two big decision-making issues in this game that cost some plays. That throw over in that corner was late. He was open. He could have hit him there too. So a little bit late on that. Now you get into the Texas Tech team. There were some really good throws on this one, but there were a couple of decision-making processes as well. This is a great throw. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at this from the back end. This is right on the money. Look at the touch pass on this. Nice little throw right on the money, right in the hands, right in the bread box. That's a touchdown. That is all day. Then we go on to this next throw, another touch pass. But this one's, the wide receiver kind of loses track of that one. And I'm okay with that. He puts it in a spot where only his receiver can get it. Slightly out of reach. Here's a little bit of scramble drill action that I like to see. I want to see more of that as I talk about with his game. A little behind his receiver, but at least he comes back to the backside dig. I want to see more of that as well on his game. I'm okay with this one too, because Royer, I feel like, took a bit of the wrong track. Why go inside where your defenders are, and then you could go more outside? So I felt like he led him well on that one. It just it didn't work out. This was unfortunate. Another pick six, but this happens in the NFL. It happens in general. Sometimes you're just a miscommunication. Your running back decides to go that way, and it's not like it was inaccurate. He was there. Had he not moved, just sometimes that happens, right? Running back says, hey, I don't want to stay here all day. This was his fault right here. Another bad decision. He's trying to be arrogant with his arm talent, sails that thing right into the DB's hand for an easy pick. And just, thank you very much. Elvis, great throw over the middle right there. That's a nice throw. Nice keeping the pocket clean. I don't love the fact that he evaded this clean pocket, but it's on the money throw, I'll say. Like, this is something he made it harder on himself than he needed to. It's a 3-man rush. Just like your right tackle to secure it up, man. You didn't need to do this. It is super impressive to see that arm talent and everything like that. I just would have liked it to be a little bit cleaner. I see a lot of this too on his film where he kind of misses now that was a bit of a miss over the middle there, and that did ding the accuracy a little bit. Great throw there over to Royer, just a bit of a drop, unfortunately. The referee was a little bit in the way, so I'm not going to complain on that on Royer too much. Sometimes the ref gets in the way, right? That's the way it is. But overall, you take a look at some of these plays, the running ability that he has, I think super incredible. We're going to see a bit of a misread right here. This is something we talked about with even Dante Moore versus the Penn State tape, kind of missing that drop back defender. This was one of the worst throws I personally saw on his film. For me, this is the type of stuff I don't want to see. Watch him drift back in the pocket. Let me go back. There we go. Drift back into the pocket unnecessarily. Look at all this space he has. Why is he drifting back? He's like 5 yards beyond this. And ends up just kind of lofting up a throw into double coverage. And I didn't like that one. It is in the snow, but still, there's no excuses. Good throw against the sidelines, though, here. And overall, he's pretty accurate on the sideline. He has some really nice money throws there. Here's his scrambling ability once again. So many good scrambles. I didn't even show a lot of them, but he definitely has some juice there. And here's another one where it shows off that toughness. Boom! Pops him right there. The TV's like, oh, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow. Now we get into the 2025 tape, okay? This, to me, is where things get a little bit better. Nebraska tape wasn't perfect. He had the game-losing interception. That was the one missed throw he had. I know the yardage will be lower, but he was more used as a runner, and the game script too for the Bearcats was really to run the football. So I can understand some things. Their offensive line wasn't maybe holding up to him pass protection. There's another area of obviously another big run for him. This was was a nice throw though by him early. That could have been a touchdown there. Fortunately settled, I think, for a field goal. Nice throw backside there on a little comeback. This is it though. Watch this. Cover two shot. You can't float that up, man. If you're going to try to fit that, it's going to have to be more against the sidelines, and it's going to have to be more of a laser, not a post up like this. And that's just too easy for the DB to make a play. Now, the Kansas tape was probably his best film, period. And this is really what got me into watching him. And I'm like, watching this game, Jalen Daniels for Brandon Sorsby. I'm like, yo, that's insane. I thought that was actually a good way to put spot to throw it to. It just kind of the receiver maybe went a little too far, a bit of miscommunication. I love that play. Great backside, getting to that dig, and that was just a great throw as well. Another good solid throw there over the middle of the field, no problems at all. Here's a nice sideline out route play there. Can hit any throw really. His arm talent shows off that ability. Good touch. Oh, ooh, man, ouch! That's gonna hurt. Scramble drill, little to the end zone there. Good on the money, on the run. He is very accurate on the move for the most part. And I think that's definitely an area of his game that is strong. Maybe throwing that one away. I don't know. You can call that either which way. Not great mechanics, kind of a little bit of a fadeaway, but it gets away with it there. Very accurate still. Here he steps into the throw. Great laser across the sideline here. Watch him come in here. Finally gets to the read. All day, I get it, but does get to the right read at least, so that's important. Second and goal. This is on the money clearly. Touchdown in the back ends. I know they didn't have another camera angle either, so it's just unfortunate I wasn't able to see that in the game, but it was still on the money for a touchdown in the back of the end zone, so I did want to highlight that. Didn't seem like an easy throw. And there goes the athleticism hurdling dudes out here. Pulling it. No, not Saquon Barkley, but anyway, try. On the money here, a little high, but takes a big hit too. So I'm still impressed with that. Takes another hit, delivers a sideline throw here. Nothing crazy, but does deliver it under pressure. Like he's not afraid to take shots. This was an under pressure throw that he did miss. So he's not perfect at that, but he does take some shots. This was a miscommunication. I saw the back end on that one. I think he was expecting the receiver to do more of a comeback and throws it that way. So I can kind of deal with some of that stuff. Those are slight inaccuracies that I can deal with more or less. I'm looking at ball placement too with some of these things. Good play right here and extending the ability. And then we see another one where takes a hit, delivers over the middle of the field, comes back with his eyes, reads it. Great throw. A little RPO action over there. Good play. Scramble drill action. Misses his receiver though on the sideline. A little high, a little out of the reach. Hey, it's not the worst place to put it though. Another high pass. Those are back-to-back actually throws here. This one, though, watch his eyes. Oh, this is one of the best throws on film you're going to see from Sorsby or even a lot of these quarterbacks. Watch his eyes here. This safety is glued more because of, see, look at him. He flips his hip because of Scoresby in his eyes. Then he comes back to the right here, finds his receiver down the sidelines. Great catch, too, by this guy. The transfer makes a big-time play, big-time throw on both sides. A bit of a miss right there. But we'll finish off with something good here in just a minute. I want to show off a run case ability where he just takes too many hits. I didn't want to do too many of these because it's like, hey, he takes too many hits in general. He does have good muscle mass. This was a miss over the bad decision over the middle of the field. But let's go ahead and finish it up on a good play here. Another one where he reads the defender's eyes, hits his wide receiver over the middle. This is a touchdown. This is the game-sealing touchdown. Watch the eyes once again. Looking over to the left, it kind of freezes some of these guys. I know they're looking over here in man coverage and just allows this receiver on the deep post. Not maybe perfect placement, but pretty good. So let's get the things that are obvious out of the way with Brandon Sorsby. Does he have arm talent? Absolutely. Does he have rushing and upside as a mobile passer? Oh, 100%. Those two things, the tangible things that you see on film, the release, the flexibility in his arm, the touch that he can put on. He's not just a fastball thrower. He has all of those things in his tool belt, and he is playing way better, especially from the IU days where he was borderline a third-string quarterback. He has made things where he's come up so far in his development. There is still a lot to work on. I think he's accurate for the most part. Yes, he does have some misses, but overall, like I was nitpicking on some of these. I mean, some of them were big misses and things he has to get better on. and I show off every single miss that I saw out on film. And overall, when I'm going through these quarterbacks, most of them have a certain level of misses. He's not quite maybe as accurate as Dante Moore. I think Moore is probably the most accurate quarterback that I've watched thus far. But I would definitely say Sorsby is more accurate than Sellers, than Aller, and I know maybe not be a huge company to fill, but I even like Josh Hoover and some of these other guys out here. Let's see, Garrett Nussmeier. I'd even say he's more accurate than Nussmeier personally. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'd put him more accurate than Nussmeier. He's in the Simpson range too. So overall, I think his accuracy is pretty dang good. It's just more about the mental side. The pocket presence isn't the greatest. You see him kind of evade some clean pockets at times. You'll just see him kind of feel uncomfortable. I'll see him duck his head a lot and just run more consistently than not. And I didn't really show all of those because then maybe the runs just weren't that, crazy to show or whatever. I just feel like I saw that a lot on his film, and I did put that down in my notes that he was kind of ducking his head a lot, not keeping it up, and looking for receivers all the time. I did show some cases where he did do that, and that is what I want to see more of because I see that upside with him, and I know that play extension ability could be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen level. It's just not at this point from the mental side. And leading into that, that is my biggest issue here with Sorsby and why I have him as a day 2 grade. At the moment, I would give him a true like 3rd round grade. I'd feel comfortable taking him though in the Tyler Shough range. I would personally draft him over Tyler Shough. Like that's just my opinion. I think I like his tangibles more, and I like some of the ability that I've seen with his accuracy more as well. It just comes down to the anticipation, the processing, especially post-snap processing, has to get better at times. I do think he has good eye manipulation, though. That's the one area that I think he especially on some of those deep shots that we saw, really decent eye manipulation. It just got to be more consistent when it comes to reading those coverages and understanding, hey, I can't be late over the middle of the field. I can't try to, I'm saying? Like, those are some things he has to work on. The decision making. If it's, yes, it was 4th down and 1 on that one where it was a pick 6. He's trying to make a play. I totally understand that. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. You got to take the sack and you got to turn the ball over rather than put the ball in harm's way like that and then jeopardize a pick 6 or whatever, a scoop and score like that one play. Those are some things he needs to work on. Is it the worst decision making I've ever seen? No. And he has gotten better. This season so far has definitely been a better, and I would have been more towards a D plus had it just been strictly the 2024 film for some of these categories. But I moved it up a little bit after watching, Kansas, Iowa State, and even Nebraska. I thought was okay besides that one pass at the game-sealing interception. I know there wasn't a lot to choose from there, but that's kind of where I'm at here with Sorsby. I really do like him, though. And ultimately, he is a developmental quarterback right now, and he could benefit from coming to school another season. It is still too early in the season as well. And I think he's got a lot to go. We'll see him versus TCU at the end of the season. The schedule isn't the toughest, so it is what it is. Overall, though, let me know what you think on Sorsby. I know I'm a little high. I get that. But I do think there's just so much there that I really like about this kid. And I think the talent, he's a young player, too. He's only 21 years old. So if he was 24 years old, I'd be like, oh, boy. You know what I mean? We're in trouble. But with the development that he has thus far through his career and getting better and better and better, it leads me to believe, hey, maybe he can clean up some of those things. Maybe he needs a year or two in the NFL before he can start. But if you're the Rams, let's say, and you want to draft a backup behind Stafford for a season, this guy might be the option for you on day 2 or at late round 1 if he plays that way towards the end of the season. So that's where I'm at with Brandon Sorsby. I know I was a little crazy the other day in putting him number 1 up the mock draft. I'm a Jets fan, so I did that, but it is what it is. Overall, that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope you guys have a really good day. Let me know what you think, agree or disagree. Crazy. But I'll keep it cool and out there.